Hello and welcome to Grapevine. Well, as you can see, we're here at Premier Exhaust and this is a special occasion. So special, in fact, that this programme is being transmitted live to all UGC's major sites so that every employee can have the chance to share in this special day as it happens.
And indeed, here inside Premier, a very special person will shortly be drawing this curtain here to mark the official opening of the new factory, Premier 2.
In this programme, Britain's best factory receives a royal accolade. How UGC grew from an idea to a contender for the world's best lean enterprise. The British Safety Council awards Unipart its highest honour. The first truck carrying DCM's direct service to France leaves Baginton. And the stakeholder circle that helped UGC live up to its Japanese customers' expectations.
1994 marks the 25th year since the creation of the Unipart brand way back in 1969, making this year, of course, the Silver Jubilee anniversary of the company. Now, coincidentally, there are lots of things happening this year that reflect just how far Unipart has come in its 25 years and how much progress the company is making towards its vision of becoming the world's best lean enterprise. One of them is the fact that Premier Exhaust has achieved the status of Britain's best factory, the award given by the Cranfield Institute of Management in conjunction with Management Today magazine. The factory also won the titles Best Midlands Factory and Best Engineering Factory. It's the first time, in fact, any company has won all three titles outright.
And as a further accolade, Her Majesty the Queen has chosen to visit Britain's best factory. Accompanied by His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, she'll be arriving here in about half an hour's time or so, and Grapevine will be bringing you coverage of the royal visit live.
Now, Her Majesty very rarely visits a factory. In fact, the palace officials who schedule her appointments can't even remember the last time she did so. The fact that she's coming to Britain's best factory is a special honour for the whole of UGC, and all round us as we speak, employees are making final preparations to make Her Majesty's visit something that will be special for her and show her something of the spirit of Unipart.
Well, remarkable though this live transmission of Grapevine is, it's only part of the story of Unipart's Silver Jubilee celebrations, because tonight there's going to be a second satellite show to some 35 locations, including here at Premier, where John Neal will be hosting a special dinner for stakeholders.
Now, tonight's show, Shaping the Future 2, will see Unipart International broadcasting to some 6,000 of their customers, U-stations and Unipart wholesalers, to launch Unipart's 1995 calendar of support activity. Now, it probably won't surprise you that just the technical staging of these two events is taking something like 80% of the entire satellite equipment available in Britain. It's fair to say that this is the most complex communications event that UGC has ever staged.
Well, with me now at Premier are some of the people who are going to make it a very special day indeed. One of those most important people is Graham Jackson. Graham, great pleasure to see you here today and to be having a chance to chat to you. Everyone has worked so incredibly hard, haven't they?
That's right, Debbie. It's been a very demanding programme over the last 3 or 4 months to complete all the work ready for today and to get the project finished of the rebuilding of Premier 2.
Indeed, because it's really important as well that you keep productivity up, isn't it?
That's right. At the same time as we've had to focus on getting the new factory ready, we've had to continue to supply our customers every 2 hours and make sure that they've been satisfied as well.
So everyone's had to work really hard, I'm sure, to meet those deadlines.
Yes, that's right. There's been a lot of project teams put together. The original deadline was not to be completed until February of next year. And of course, when we heard about the visit in late August, early September, we decided to change the deadline, bring it forward to December the 8th. And I think the paint's just about dry now.
Not everywhere, I have to tell you. I got some wet varnish today.
Right.
But Graham, how important is it, do you think, that the Queen is coming to the factory? What does it mean to you?
I think it's a great honour. I think it's a great honour for Premier, but also, and probably in particular, for Unipart as a group of companies. And it reflects on the spirit of the company and the achievements that we've been able to have over the last few years.
What about you personally? Are you secretly a bit of a royalist?
Yes, that's right. And my mum's outside at the moment. She's come
Your mum's here?
Yeah, that's right. She's come to watch.
I'm sure she must be very proud indeed. Have you got a few butterflies though, perhaps?
one or two now, but the preparation's done, and it's probably a hell of a way to spend your birthday, is probably what I would say.
Your birthday?
That's
It's not
right,
your
yeah.
birthday. I don't believe it. Go on, how old are you then?
33 today.
33. Doesn't look a day over 21. Oh, well, very happy birthday to you, Graham. What a note to end on. Thanks ever so much. I hope the visit goes really well for you.
Thank you
Now,
very
back to James.
Thanks, Deborah. Well, telling the Unipart story in just a few minutes is a bit of a tall order, particularly since many employees watching today know the story far better than I do, having served, of course, a very long time with their company. The dawn of Unipart in 1969 saw the creation of one brand for all the marks of car made by Unipart's owners, the British Motor Corporation, later to become British Leyland. But it was in 1974, with the launch of the now famous new corporate livery, that the Unipart brand really started to take off and began to establish a reputation as a fresh, innovative, exciting new force to be reckoned with.
An oil filter is like a goalkeeper. The more it saves, the better it is. Unipart filters are the only filters recommended by British Leyland.
In the long run, Unipart can save you time, money, and your car. Unipart. Thousands of parts for millions of cars.
So, if we just call it Unipart Universal Antifreeze, you'll remember the rest, won't you?
Thousands of parts for millions of cars. Unipart.
Go to Unipart, where there are shelves of lights, brakes, and hoses. You won't catch us out too often for the bits you need.
Thousands of parts for millions of cars. Unipart.
Tune up someone's car this Christmas with Unipart accessories.
Thousands of parts for millions of cars. Unipart. The answer is yes now. What's the question? The answer
At a Unipart centre, the answer is yes. Now, what's the question?
Unipart.
Unipart Super Multigrade. Formula 1, M1. Same one.
Now, building a strong brand presence was part of the essential groundwork in preparing Unipart to create an independent future. By 1978, the brand was market leader, but it was to be nearly another decade before the company got its chance to separate its fortunes from its owners, BL. In 1987, Unipart was able to return to private ownership via a management buyout.
And not just any management buyout. Unipart's top team was determined to offer share ownership to its employees so that any employee could have the chance of becoming a founder shareholder in their own company. A 4-hour theatrical show took employees to the city to meet stockbrokers and bankers so that they could understand what share ownership entailed and then make their own decision about whether to buy shares. About half did, way above the 10% response that the city had predicted. The creation of the Unipart group of companies also saw a new corporate goal and mission to add to Unipart's long-established philosophy to understand the real and perceived needs of the customer better than anyone else and to serve them better than anyone else. The new corporate mission was, the Unipart group of companies aims to be an enduring, upper quartile performing company in which stakeholders are keen to participate. And the corporate goal, to make the UGC logo the mark of outstanding personal customer service.
Now, to fulfil those aims, the newly created Unipart group of companies would have to live up fully to its stakeholder philosophy, which says that the company exists for the benefit of all its stakeholders. In particular, employees would have to be inspired and empowered to become committed to the company, committed to the customer, to have a deep-seated belief in quality, and to be dedicated to continuous improvement.
UGC's response to this challenge was typical of the fighting, crusading spirit that the company has built up over the years. A personal development course, PPF, helps spread the understanding that everyone is both a service provider and a customer at their own point in the service chain. Mark in Action Awards were established to recognise and pay tribute to the spirit of outstanding personal customer service. My Contribution Counts taught the principle of continuous improvement, whatever job an employee had. And OCC Circles provided a simple but outstandingly successful framework for delivering continuous improvement right across the business. Finally, investment in Unipart U provided the framework for continuous learning to keep ahead of the competition. Today, the atmosphere and culture of UGC have moved a long way closer towards the goal of forging long-term, mutually committed partnership between the company and the employees. The new Worldwide Manufacturing Competitiveness Study looks at 71 motor component factories in 9 countries, including 12 in the UK. To make the findings relevant beyond the motor industry, the study covered the production of seats, exhausts and brakes, chosen because they require a variety of process technologies. The researchers found that world-class plants are twice as productive as non-world-class, and the quality gap is even higher. On seats, world-class producers are 9 times as good, 16 times as good on brakes, and a staggering 170 times as good on exhausts. The US comes closest to Japan's quality levels, but still trails by some 30%. The UK's overall quality and productivity has risen 31% in the past 2 years, but Japan's has risen 38%. The gap is not closing, but widening. Spain's unusually high level of productivity is because the factories in the study make much newer, simpler products, taking less time to assemble. The study found world-class factories in Japan, the US, France and Spain, but surprisingly not in Germany, Europe's presumed motor industry powerhouse.
Nowhere in UGC has the spirit of Unipart been demonstrated so strikingly as in the manufacturing operations. In this sparkling environment, it's hard to recall that in 1987 this factory here had no future, a view that was endorsed by the city, whose advisors thought that UGC should get out of manufacturing altogether. But John Neal and his top team insisted that the UK had to be a nation of producers as well as consumers, and that UGC had to play its part in producing goods. They were convinced that UGC could become a successful manufacturing company. 7 years of unremitting effort later, it's clear how application of UGC's philosophy and drive for world-class standards has paid off. The latest Lean Enterprise study from Professor Dan Jones and Anderson Consulting shows that Premier remains Britain's quality champions and has the fastest growing productivity of any company in Britain.
Well, today UGC is a collection of successful businesses, all arising from the company's roots in the motor industry, and all driven by that stakeholder philosophy and the aim of becoming the world's best lean enterprise. So is such an aim realistic? We'll be asking John Neal that later in the programme, I hope. But back to you, Deborah, now.
Thanks very much indeed, James. Well, another significant step in the race to becoming world-class has now been achieved too, because Unipart is now one of only 50 companies in the world to be granted the British Safety Council's highest honour.
The British Safety Council is the leading authority on industrial health and safety anywhere in the world. There's a 5-star rating system, and assessment is rigorous in the extreme, covering the engineering centre as well as the offices. Unipart International entered for assessment in 1993 and was awarded a very creditable 4 stars. However, the company was disappointed and pressed hard for a re-evaluation. The result? 5 stars, making Unipart one of the leading companies for health and safety in Britain. However, the Council reserves its highest honour for its international award, the Sword of Honour. Only organisations that have already been given a 5-star rating can be considered for this.
If you get a Sword of Honour, you can go home and you can say, I'm one of the best in the world. Out of the 22,000 corporate members of the British Safety Council in the UK, plus another 1,000 overseas, we only award about 40 or 50 Swords of Honour. They are indeed the Oscars of the safety world.
Well, at a formal ceremony before a specially invited international audience, Unipart was presented with the Sword of Honour, thus adding the company to the select group of international corporations to have achieved this rating.
Winning the Sword of Honour is extremely significant for us. We, as a division, are trying to achieve world-class levels of performance in many areas of our business, and we truly believe that today is an example of the fact that we can say we are truly world-class.
It's a fantastic accolade for the amount of commitment and dedication people have put into ensuring that we are well on track to becoming one of the world's safest companies. In fact, having won this award, we are now quite definitely classed as one of the world's safest companies, one of the top 30 companies in Britain this year, and only one of 50 companies throughout the entire world that has won this award.
One of UGC's most marked characteristics is the company's ability to rise to a challenge. Well, a recent example came about when Grapevine reported on how Jaguar chairman Nick Shaler challenged the DCM team to provide a better quality service to Jaguar dealers in France. And he told us his reaction to what the team did.
I think they responded very well, actually. I know that when John and I talked about it first, there were a lot of very, very dubious faces around the table, both Jaguar and Unipart people. And I think when it finally came through that we had a solution that was robust, that would work and would in fact provide better service than the dealers are presently getting in France, there was a sense that something really significant had been accomplished. I think it has been accomplished.
Well, a few days ago, the very first Unipart lorry loaded with Jaguar dealers' orders left Baginton for its direct run through the Channel Tunnel for France. The new service means Jaguar no longer has to bear the cost and the delay of storing orders in a warehouse in France before shipping them on to dealers.
All off to France, right?
In future, same-day orders will leave Baginton at 6 p.m. and be delivered to the first Paris customer by 5:30 next morning local time.
Proof that UGC is taking to heart messages about lean thinking and continuous improvement can be seen in the work of many OCC circles across the company. This one that I researched recently seemed typical. A global stakeholder circle working with customers in Japan and suppliers in Italy has improved the supply of windscreens to Rover Japan. The windscreens are made by SIV Glass in Italy, shipped over for storage at Unipart, and then transported out to Rover Japan in response to customer orders. Rejections were happening for a variety of reasons. Windscreens were arriving scratched, wet, dirty or with the laminated layers of the screen starting to separate. Occasionally, too, there could be bubbles in the glass or splashes of plastic laminate on the outer surface of the windscreen.
I became aware of the problems of glass when somebody explained to me that a small blemish in a piece of glass that to the Western eye was imperceptible represented a huge problem in the minds of our respected customers in Japan. Now, what I most admired about everybody was that where in the past they might have argued that the customer was wrong, instead, everyone in the circle simply said, the customer is right, we must now work together to achieve a result that will delight our customer.
Well, Circle leader Nick Watts pulled together a team from Cowley Quality Services, Rover at both Longbridge and in Japan, and the manufacturer in Coventry and Italy. So, by examining the whole manufacturing and delivery process, and by clear thinking to get to the root causes of the problems, the Circle was able to find simple, low-cost ways of making sure the problems could never happen again.
The problems were brought to our attention through rejects from Japan. This came as a surprise to us because nobody else in the world was rejecting screens.
The type of defects that you were talking about were very, very small scratches. And when I say very small, you need to hold the windscreen up to a specific light at a certain angle to actually see them. It's not something if you sit in a car and you can say, oh, there's a great big scratch over there. It's something that's very, very small.
There was one situation where Rover were applying a quality label on the windscreen, which when it was peeled off left a mark. So the easiest solution to that was to actually have cling film across it, which the cling film was taken off, thus not even touching the glass.
Arranged with the supplier to cleanse the production line. We changed the packing station, so knocked the part out. And Rover actually reset the specification for glass.
I think the Circle was the only way that you could really address such a problem because there were so many different players in the game. So consequently, we needed SIV, we needed Rover Japan, we needed Longbridge and ourselves to actually confront the problem and look at the reasons why. Only by everybody looking in and appreciating the problems could we really solve it.
It's an example of how nothing short of perfect quality is acceptable to UGC's customers, and how, by working together in teams, UGC employees can find ways of delivering perfection.
So now I have like a 148 of good quality of glass to sleep in a warehouse. No demand. Everything is perfect.
This time last year, DCM's supplier Thanetti Radiators had an unacceptable score of 9 on their Zero Logistics rating. And looking at the delivery system, it wasn't hard to see why.
We were delivering at the wrong time, the wrong quantities, in mixed pallets, in the wrong pallets. So virtually everything you could do wrong, we were actually doing wrong. But we were looking at different constraints, which was economic batch quantities and obviously achieving our schedule fill performance, which in our opinion we were at that point in time.
All these factors meant disruption to DCM's planned workflow and much time wasted, for instance, stacking product into the right type of pallet. However, having committed to the 10-to-0 framework and the principle of continuous improvement, the supplier was anxious to work with DCM and UI towards putting the situation right. Much hard work and goodwill have led to a genuinely improved mutual understanding, with result that after 12 months intensive effort, many of the original problems have been fixed. Product now arrives at pre-notified delivery in the right pallets, clearly labelled and segregated, with a perfect advice note. And the Zero Logistics score, that's now down to 3. Martin, the problems that we've described sound easy to fix. Why has it taken a year?
Some of the problems were much more easy and came through quite quickly, resolved in a fairly straightforward way. Others are much more complicated and need changes to computer systems, and those have taken rather longer. In fact, there's still work to do.
Our relationship with Unipart was a classic customer-supplier relationship, whereby there was very little involvement unless we had a customer complaint. One thing the 10-to-0 program has done
has allowed us to clearly understand what our customer needs are and what satisfies our customer. As a company, we spend a lot of time and resource actually trying to gather this information from our customers. And we were very surprised when Unipart came along with a whole program that clearly identified what their needs are, what were the elements of success, and how to measure those elements of success. And then we could jointly and mutually agree, and that's the most important point, is that we mutually agreed an improvement and development program.
Well, 12 months ago, Fnatley Radiators were perhaps one of the worst suppliers in delivering to this distribution centre, and now they're one of the best. And we've learned that if we can do this with one of our worst suppliers, then we should be able to do it with others.
A few days ago, the second stage of Lean Machine was opened in Cowley. Why has UGC made yet another big investment in these facilities? Well, again, it flows from the stakeholder philosophy, which says the group exists to meet the long-term interests of all its stakeholders, including, of course, its employees. Roy has the story.
The first stage of Lean Machine was opened in 1992 as a state-of-the-art corporate fitness facility. Now there's a new addition, Lean Machine 2, and it's something no other British company has yet achieved. The board of Lean Machine worked with David Perry, the former chief executive of the local health authority, to decide on the best therapies the Lean Machine 2 could offer employees. They chose aromatherapy, physiotherapy, reflexology, massage, beautician, diet and nutrition. All those services will be available.
Well, my work takes me around many companies, especially those who are leading companies in, if you like, the occupational health field. For example, companies who are members of the UK Wellness Forum. And I know from my personal experience that the facilities that have been developed here at Unipart, and just as importantly, the concept, are truly ahead of the field.
This isn't just an excellent sports hall, it's a complete personal health and well-being centre. Here, employees will be able to consult therapists whose services can enhance the quality of their lives.
And joining me now is one of the employees who's helped to get this incredible factory all ready for today. I have never seen so much polishing going on in one area. What have you been doing, Lisa, to help get ready for the big day today?
Well, we've basically been tidying up. We all work on the cat line. We're getting everything ready, getting the orders out as well. And we all come in early this morning to get everything sorted out so that when it's over we can get back over and make sure the orders are fulfilled.
Oh, smashing. So you're managing not to lose any of the orders because of the Queen's visit?
No, not yet.
But in order to do that, I mean, she's going to be here for a good hour, so everybody must have really pulled the stops out to ensure that all the orders are going to be met.
Yeah, they certainly did, yeah. We all came in at 7 this morning and we've been working through, really banging them out.
Now, there's quite a buzz around here, Lisa. I can sense that everybody's really excited. We've got a gang of people over there all waiting for the Queen to arrive. Well, what atmosphere have you sensed amongst your colleagues?
Oh, there's definitely been a lot of merry-making sort of thing. You know, everyone's been really happy singing about it, and I think they're really looking forward to.
Oh, well, indeed, I'm sure they are. Let's see if we can grab another of your mates over there. Come on, somebody else, come on. You come and tell me, Dave, what you've been up to. Thanks very much indeed, Lisa. I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing before. Dave, what have you been doing for the big day?
Just basically making sure everything's tidy, clean, impress the Queen, and hopefully impress our future customers.
Do you know something? This is the cleanest factory floor I've ever seen in my entire life. I could eat my dinner off this.
Without a shadow of a doubt. 100% commitment off the employees, I'd say.
It certainly is, isn't it? I mean, everyone's really worked so hard. I mean, only 2 weeks, I came here 2 weeks ago, and the place, I tell you, was one big shell, and now suddenly there's all this activity going on. You've obviously worked really hard.
You have to venture towards world-class performance. You have to have the employees to get beyond that. If you haven't got that, I don't think you can achieve that standard.
Sure. Is this a big day to tell your family about?
Definitely. It's a bit, go down in history, I think, as well.
Yeah?
I never thought when I first started here, I never thought a factory like this would get to this standard, because when I've been from here from the start, and it's, I think anything like this at all.
What impression, can I ask you, what impression do you think the Queen is going to get of Premier?
I think she'll be very impressed.
Yeah? What do you think she'll be impressed about?
The layouts and the commitment from the employees.
Because they say, don't they, that the Duke of Edinburgh is very interested in the technology aspects, but we're expecting the Queen to be more interested in what makes up Unipart. Yeah. What's the spirit of Unipart? Is that what you've been told?
Yeah, I think the employees have got the spirit there.
There's a terrific morale, isn't there?
Definitely.
And not just today, I have to say,
definitely.
But throughout.
But especially today. Everybody's been just aiming towards getting this factory set and perfected for the day.
Terrific stuff. Thanks ever so much, Dave. Let's grab one of your colleagues. George, come over here. Come and talk to me. George, what have you been doing today to get everything ready for the big day?
Mainly in the cell that we work, we've just been planning the day ahead to make sure that we get the orders out for the customer. Obviously making sure that the work area and everything is clean and tidy, and just preparing for the visit this afternoon.
Big event. Well, what does it mean to you, the fact that the Queen is coming to Premiere? What do you think that says about Unipart?
First and foremost, I think it means that obviously Premiere has now been put onto the map. We obviously aim to become a world-class company, and with the visit obviously from the Queen, it obviously emphasises what effort the workforce and the management have put into Premiere 2.
Yeah. Now, can I say, the rules have had a few knocks, haven't they, over the last few months? Do you think that's taken the edge off the visit, or do you think that she's still as respected and held in as great an affection as she always was?
In the public eye, I think she's obviously still greatly respected for what she is and for what she's done for the country. And obviously with the visit, it just obviously highlights how important it has been for Premiere to get this Factory 2 and Factory 1 underway.
That's great. George, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me just check now, if I can, where exactly the Queen is in her journey here to Premiere, because of course it's such an exciting day today. And I expect you can hear the buzz that's going on behind me, because just over there behind the camera is the biggest crowd. Hi guys! The biggest crowd of Premiere employees I've ever seen all together in one place. And they're just so excited. That's what all the noise is, in case you wonder what all the noise was. So I'll just try again. Shall I? Hi guys! I told you, and everybody's just so excited about this day because it is a very important day for Premiere. And of course, the Queen is going to open Premiere 2 by drawing the curtains behind me, which will show this plaque behind me. So let's go over to James now. James, what are you able to tell us about this impending visit?
Thank you, Deborah. Well, as you can see there, a lot of local people, many of them friends and relatives of employees of the company itself, not just the Premiere, but across the Unipart group. Also some very excited young school children there waving their Union flags, Union Jacks, call them what you want. Here we are in fact upstairs on the interior of Premiere exhausts. This is what the presentation room looks like at the moment. This is where Her Majesty and the Royal Party in general will be brought to listen to a very short speech from John Neal about the progress, the amazing progress, in fact, that Premiere and indeed Unipart has made over the years, particularly in recent years. Here, in fact, are the people who will be there at the front of the queue today, in effect, the people who will be meeting Her Majesty in person. They reflect the wide interests of Unipart and of Premiere across the world. You're seeing some representatives from far across the world, to another island, set of islands, to Japan. The people who are the customers and partners of Unipart and of Premiere, and I guess for them too, it's an unusual kind of day. This is at the front of a factory which is just beginning, of course, to start production. Premiere 2, Premiere itself's been around a few years now, but Premiere 2 is really what today is all about. And again, of course, the people, I suppose, who really count at the end of the day, the people who do all the work, or at least the work in terms of making things and making this factory such an international success as it now is, people from Premiere Exhausts itself who have sort of taken the afternoon off, I suppose you could say, but then let's all admit not every day is a royal visit day, and they're looking expectantly out of the window. Across the car park, which is now crammed with people and with certain kinds of vehicles, as we said a moment ago, this is one of the biggest satellite distribution exercises ever seen, really, certainly within the realms of British industry. Lots of things for the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, the royal party, to see, in fact, today. It's not a typical factory by any means, and indeed that's why they're here. It's a very unusual factory. This is part of the Unipart commitment to educating people who work for the company, who are part and shareholders of the company, many of them. This particular set of displays today is really part of the company's commitment to teaching people about the future through information technology. And I had a look earlier around this display. It, in fact, does cover the entire spectrum. I think from what a beginner in the world of computers would want to know, what is a computer, right through to what are operating systems, right up to the most complicated areas. This is another display or another activity that the Royal Party will see this afternoon. Some of you may be strangers to this. It's what's called a Kanban game, and it's evidence, it's symbolic really, this of the degree of learning that's gone on from companies like Premier and Unipart from across the other half of the world in Japan. These Kanban is Japanese for ticket, and it really represents a system of self-learning, if you like, based on the notion of quality, total quality management, and really trying to reduce costs within a company by matching what the customer wants in the most efficient way. Very much an ingredient, a key ingredient of the success of Unipart and Premier in recent years. Still waiting here with some of the dignitaries from Japan, including the president of Honda Motor Europe, who's a major customer of Premier, the managing director of Honda Motor Europe, with Toyota Motor Manufacturing in the UK, also another major customer of Premier and of Unipart in some respects. They're joined here by the chief executive of the Inchcape Retail Group, Mr. Les Taylor, also a customer, and other people who have played a part as partners and stakeholders in the enormous success of this company. Not much work happening in the factory itself by the look of it, and why not? What else can you do when the Royals drop in but stand up and wave and have a few words with them as they pass? Well, there'll be a police escort, as you can see, arriving at the front of the royal family, and with Her Majesty and Royal Highness Duke of Edinburgh as obviously the chief constable and his wife from the area. They'll be arriving possibly ahead of the royal car itself. An amazingly meticulous kind of performances as we've watched these people work during the day. I'm sure for many of the Royal Party organisers it's a fairly normal day. To the rest of us it looked as if it was running like clockwork and as if they did it every day of the week, which I'm sure they do. Chief Constable and his wife arriving. The royal car, Her Majesty and His Royal Highness behind them. Executing a rather large sweeping turn into the car park. I'm sure it's one of the grander cars that's entered this car park in recent years. Of course, the usual entourage of police and other security people. And the royal household itself will be bringing up the latter part of the procession. Majesty and Duke of Edinburgh, they're visible for all. Her Majesty meets now the Lord Lieutenant of the County of the West Midlands, Mr. Taylor, and his wife. Also meets other local representatives, in effect, of the Sovereign, the High Sheriff, the County of West Midlands, Adrian Cadbury and Lady Cadbury. There'll be the Lord Mayor and the Mayoress of Coventry, Councillor and Mrs. Nolan. There'll be representatives of local members of parliaments, even both parliaments, obviously, a member of the London Parliament and Miss Oddy, who is the European member for this area. John Neal introducing the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh to the dignitaries and other representatives of the customer base of Premier and of Unipart Group. Duke of Edinburgh, of course, as I said a moment ago, has many years of enthusiastic association with all parts of British industry, who has played a very keen role in urging it forward, jogging it along, suggesting new ideas, sometimes not always in the most polite fashion, but a very, very enthusiastic supporter of the rights of industry. One could say, I suppose, that John Neal, the chief executive here, the group chief executive, is no stranger to royalty in the sense that he has, of course, a royal honour, a CBE, but doesn't always mean, of course, they're on first-name terms with the sovereign, but they obviously seem to be getting on extremely well today. Looking now at some of the various accolades that the company has attracted both for its employees and for its products over the years. I think one of them actually has the signature of Prince Philip himself. They're now going through to the presentation room where John Neal will introduce the company, in effect, to the royal party. John Neal himself has been with Unipart, as many of you will know, since the mid-70s, joined the company in 1974 after a career at General Motors and set out to establish an independent and broadly based role for what was then British Leyland's parts division, and how well he's done. He's built the Unipart range and really put the Unipart brand very much at the centre of the map.
Please be seated. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're enormously honoured by your presence here today. Our regular employee news video, which we call Grapevine, is being sent live by satellite today so that employees throughout our Unipart group of companies can share in this wonderful occasion. Our employees wanted to send their warmest greetings and respects to you, and here they are. We are, of course, delighted that you will be formally opening our new factory later this afternoon, and we hope that you will be impressed by our commitment to continue our philosophy, to invest for the long term, in order to achieve world-class standards of performance and thus ensure the survival of our company. Amongst our many stakeholders here today, I'd like to give a special welcome to our customers, to Honda, Jaguar, Land Rover, Saab, and Toyota. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your business. We'll be trying to earn even more of it in the future. We're looking forward, ma'am, to showing you all of our learning and manufacturing facilities. But first of all, my team wanted me to try to bring to life the spirit of Unipart for you. I think Premier here is a good example of our crusading spirit. At the time of Unipart's management buyout in 1987, this was the site of what was widely regarded as the worst factory of our then parent company. The city all but insisted we stop manufacturing and concentrate on marketing and distribution, where we were already a leading player in our industry. However, a small team of us was convinced that if we could spread the best of Unipart's culture and combine it with what we were learning from one of the best manufacturers in the world, then maybe, just maybe, we could prove that British people working in a British company, committed to the long-term view and believing deeply in building long-term relationships with all our stakeholders, could show what a good country Britain really is in which to manufacture. We felt we should not just be a nation of consumers, but producers also. Between 1987 and 1993, we worked closely with our Japanese partners and created a special kind of factory with people working in teams dedicated to continuous improvement. Sales grew, jobs were created, cash freed up for investment through improved stock turns, and impressive gains were made in productivity per person and in sales per square foot. In 1993, Premier gained an accolade that would have been unimaginable in 1987. It was chosen as Best Midlands Factory, Best Engineering Factory in Britain, and Britain's Best Factory. The first time any company has won all three awards outright. In 1994, independent research comparing Premier with its Japanese and European counterparts shows that we remain Britain's quality champions. Added to that, Premier has achieved a rise of productivity of more than 20% from an already high base. From the research, we understand that this factory outperforms many of its competitors. Our theme song from 1987 was, "If you can dream it, you can do it." And it really did inspire our team here to set aspirational goals and then achieve them. Not just for our company, but we think for our country. When you meet our people, ma'am, you'll see that they feel that they're fighting the cause of manufacturing for our country and proving that it can be done. Here we'd like to pay tribute to all that we've learned from working in partnership with our customers, Honda and Toyota. I personally think British industry owes a particular debt of thanks to the Japanese companies who've chosen this country as a place to invest. They've helped stimulate the regeneration of the British car-making industry. Our spirit of Unipart is exemplified in many ways. We set a corporate goal in 1987 to make the UGC logo the mark of outstanding personal customer service. This goal is brought dramatically to life every month when we celebrate in Unipart U, our company university at Oxford headquarters, the extraordinary lengths that teams and individuals go to provide outstanding personal customer service. These employees win our highly prized Mark in Action Award. Over 350 teams and individuals have won an award, and some exceptional individuals have won the award 4 times. At the award ceremonies, where the winners receive a gold pin, our managing directors and other colleagues sometimes outnumber winners by 10 to 1. They come simply to say thank you and show their respect for what our winners have done. We hope that today, Ma'am, that you will present our Mark in Action Award to a team here at Premier during the factory tour. We also hope that you'll enjoy seeing the completion ceremony of one of our many contribution count circles, which have been operating throughout Unipart since 1991. This program encourages anyone in the company who has an idea to improve quality, reduce cost, or improve customer service to form a circle. They choose the team, they brainstorm the problem, and then they take responsibility for implementing the solution, using the learning which they've gained from Unipart U, from our creative problem solving and contribution circles courses. Over 500 circles have been formed in the last 3 years, resulting in savings of over £5 million, not to mention countless improvements in customer service and reductions in cost and waste. You'll hear from a typical circle leader how much personal satisfaction the circle members gain from their activities. As with Mark in Action Awards, our managing directors all attend the circle completion ceremonies, and they will confirm how proud we all are of our colleagues' achievements. We hope that you will also present an OCC Circle certificate later today. We'll start the tour shortly, and although we don't have time to visit Premier 1, which was awarded the Best Factory in Britain title, all of Premier 1's employees will be waiting to greet you in our next stage of development in Premier 2. Our newest young manager in charge of the factory has set the challenging target of 30% productivity gain in 12 months. For instance, one product is being transferred from Premier 1 just a few yards away to its new location in Premier 2. The same product, the same people, the same customers, and the same equipment have seen a productivity gain of 40% just since the move. How is this possible? It's the combination of the Unipart spirit and our investment in continuous learning and the application of the latest knowledge from all over UGC and the outside world. This we do through our company university, Unipart U. For example, our top managers teach world-class production systems as one of the many learning opportunities offered by Unipart U. We'll be showing you one of the practical hands-on parts of the course running here at Premier in the manufacturing faculty of the U. Taught by fellow employees, the students will be playing what we call the Kanban game, in which they learn to understand world-class production processes. We're committed to making the learning organisation a reality, and all of us are regular teachers in both Oxford and in its regional faculties. Our original investment of £2.5 million in Unipart U, which was opened in September 1993 by a cabinet minister, has more than doubled with the opening of our regional faculties, and doubled again if you take into account the time we spend learning from and teaching each other. Ma'am, we know that for our country to compete in the viciously competitive world markets of tomorrow, we must develop new ways of managing our businesses better than our competitors. I know His Royal Highness has strongly encouraged those of us involved with the Royal Society for the Arts to work out the characteristics and values of tomorrow's company. Thank you, sir, for your continuing interest. We also know that we must all take responsibility for our own learning, and we as business leaders accept the challenge to inspire others to learn and to create the environment in which it can be done. We believe we face an exciting, though challenging future, and we look forward to showing you a little of how we plan to tackle it. In a moment, we'll invite you to visit our newest Midlands faculty of Unipart U and see for yourself the learning opportunities enjoyed by our employees. After that, we'll invite you to perform the opening ceremony of our second stage of Premier's manufacturing facilities, and then to witness a Mark in Action and OCC ceremony. We hope that everything I've talked about will actually come to life for you and to give you an enjoyable visit. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Unipart.
Well, this is part of what Unipart would call the leading edge, and it's the leading edge in every description. It's the advanced area, really, of teaching people in industry to learn about the future. It's based on the simple recognition that the future is going to be even more competitive than today, and that really a company's success does have to come from the skills of all the people in the company, not just at the senior levels, the senior managers who traditionally have driven the business, but the combined talents and skills of every single employee in the organisation. But to do that, and that's not just something you write in fancy textbooks, it's something you actually have to commit to. You commit resources to it, and you make sure that the company drives it through. And as John Neal said there in his speech to the Royal Party, the company has invested over £2.5 million now on building its own university. Unipart U, of course, many I'm sure of you have been through its doors. It's believed to be unique in Britain. Perhaps in 10 years it won't be so uncommon. Perhaps every company will have one in the long run, but it really is a matter of teaching people to teach themselves. And it starts, of course, with the most fundamental skills that are available from modern technology, the information technology industry. Only through this, really, this continuous learning process, can you really absorb the best modern standards of management and of production, of quality control, of collective action, collective responsibility for getting the product right, for getting things to the customer on time. All the things that make a company succeed. I suppose the other thing to note is that every employee really is potentially either a student or a tutor. All of us, whether we work on the production line or in the offices of a company, learn things and should pass those on to the people who work with us. So really one performs a joint task in a modern organisation like this of learning and teaching all at the same time. And Leading Edge is certainly designed, this sort of approach is designed for all employees at all areas of the company, at all levels of management. The guiding principle, I suppose, of Unipart U is that whatever is learned in the morning can be applied to the employee's job in the afternoon. So this is real sharp-end stuff. What we're seeing here actually is the rudiments of a conferencing system where people in one part of the company, say here in Coventry, can talk to a colleague in Scotland or Wales or
Southern Africa or wherever, and share experiences, discuss problems, even look at designs on the screen and crack a particular problem immediately that maybe 5 years ago would have taken a long, long time.
Alison, who teaches the course, is responsible for production and material control in this factory. She not only teaches employees in Premier, she teaches our employees throughout the group. Maybe, Alison, you could tell Her Majesty what you do.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Midlands Unipart University. The training session that you can see going on here is a game that simulates manufacturing in a just-in-time environment. It combines theoretical techniques which are learnt earlier in the course and encourages teamwork. The idea of the game is to manufacture a product like this at a cost of less than £25 per piece, whilst achieving 100% product quality. The game is played over 5 rounds, each round lasting around 5 minutes. Between each round, a discussion period is held, which encourages individual ideas to reach a team decision. Typically, the game starts in chaos, everybody's shouting, nobody is actually listening. By the final round, it's strangely calm, very quiet, and the team's running very smoothly. The feedback from the course is very positive, and it gives an insight into manufacturing that people who previously haven't experienced manufacturing gain. To date, around 400 people have actually attended the course, and it is the intention that every Unipart employee should actually attend. Externally, the course has been run for school children to introduce the idea of manufacturing. The feedback from that was those who previously thought industry would be dirty and boring found it to be completely the opposite. In addition to this, the course has been run for suppliers into Unipart Industries to learn from each other and to share the learning further down the supply chain. As a final emphasis, the course is actually challenging all participants to actually take away the techniques learnt and put them into the working place. In fact, I think John mentioned earlier about a 40% improvement in productivity that we gained, which was gained through a process such as this. And you'll see further examples downstairs in the manufacturing area.
Thank you very much.
I'm actually playing the role of the customer, so I'm thoroughly unreasonable when I'm not given what I require when I require it. Maybe not as considerate as some of our other customers. I'm the traditional role. Really it's a role of applying pressure. The game is about creating pressure artificially, and that is my role.
It's a good idea. It is. It gives a really simple idea and gets over the idea of manufacturing.
Our full top management team played the game. Professor Jones, who was the principal of our Unipart University, and we did very badly in the first round. We really learned some things as a result of playing it. It changes your view about how the manufacturing process works. The most important thing we learned, the man or woman doing the job know the most about it. Especially those of us who manage it. Thanks very much. Well done, Alison.
Well, the Queen now moves on to the, I suppose, the business end of the factory, really, but briefly thinking about Kanban there, I suppose many children watching this will say, I don't understand what the fuss is about. And in some respects, there's an element of truth to that, because the most important lessons are often the most simplest. And indeed, Kanban as a game is based on what is like a Lego kind of approach, really. And it's going back to basics, going back to fundamentals, the fundamentals of the production process, with one thing in particular in the target area, which is what the customer wants is really what matters. And it does illustrate how far industry in general has come in about 70 or 80 years, from the days of Henry Ford and the Ford production line, where the only colour you could have, he said, was black. You could have any colour you liked, so long as it was black. The customer, therefore, didn't really get a look in. Things have changed, obviously, tremendously since then, but not only just in terms of customer views, actually how the factory itself works. In the old days of Henry Ford, and we have many examples still around, the production line was one enormous, continuous line, with each employee playing a small part at an individual point, without really knowing the global picture. That is what really Premier and Unipart are all about. That is what lean production is all about. It's all about a continuous process, but in which all the employees all work together as teams and taking an interest in the entire production process and schedule, thinking about problems, looking at quality, and sharing any knowledge and lessons they may have picked up. That, in a nutshell, is the difference. I suppose 20 years ago, a factory in this part of the world would not have had a floor that literally you could, eat your picnic off. But factories today are very different places. Not only are they lean, they're very clean as well. And Her Majesty and Royal Highness Duke of Edinburgh are now really seeing the business end of Premier 2, of what a modern lean production operation really does look like. It's come a long way as well, from Britain's worst factory, as John Neal was saying, to the best in the country, and possibly amongst the best in Europe. And now it's all very, very official. It's cost £9 million, create about 100 jobs, even more. But actually, Managing Director of Manufacturing, Frank Burns, doesn't think money alone is the answer. He reckons that money just refurbishes the building, if you like. The difference is in the learning we've applied. And that's really the secret of success in a company like this. And we've seen, partly, how it's achieved with Leading Edge and the Kanban game and the enormous resources that are put into self-learning and training and keeping up with the future. Duke of Edinburgh there sharing a couple of jokes. Well, today is a special day, of course, not a tremendous amount of production work going on, but it's a very busy factory, very, very busy factory. This particular company, Premier, makes exhaust systems and catalytic converters for Honda and Rover, delivering packages to its customers, very customised packages, every 6 hours. A recent report by Anderson Consulting, apart from the many other accolades that the factory has gained, a report by our Anderson Consultant company called the factory Britain's quality champions as well, after it demonstrated one of the fastest productivity improvement rates in Europe, ahead of its German rivals. And they won't stop there. Premier's management has set a 30% productivity improvement target for this new factory, Premier 2. People actually on the shop floor, the employees themselves, reckon it'll be closer to 40. Much of what John Neal believes in is really summed up, I suppose, in the phrase shared destiny. Some people, some cynics, have dismissed it as something you see in the management textbooks, which doesn't really work. Here it does work. Shared destiny means you share everything you do with your stakeholders, your customers, your suppliers, your employees, your community even. And true to that is the fact that this company, of which Premier is a part, is actually in large part owned by the people who work within it. More and more employees of the company have chosen actually to become shareholders over the past 7 or 8 years. And if they'd come in 1987, when the company was launched as shareholders, they'd be smiling more than specially today. The share value has risen in that time, and with the stock market what it is these days, that can't be bad. The other spin-off, of course, of the stakeholder philosophy and the overall strength that goes with a bonded family-type company almost like this is that it gives you long-term stability. It gives you the capacity to take decisions about long-term investments which benefit the entire organisation. It's this independence and the cohesion, if you like, of the entire team that does make it possible to plan for the future, for the 5 to 10 to 15-year future. And certainly the company's decision, for example, to launch on a £19 million refit of the company's biggest warehouse is part of that benefit. Looking through the recent business history of Premier is really like looking almost through the Guinness Book of Records for company performance. I mean, sales at Premier have grown from £1 million a year to something like 43 million this year. Sales per square foot, an important measure of efficiency and success. Sales per square foot have risen from £11,000 worth in 1989 to a staggering 404,000 last year. 1995, they'd probably be even higher. Sales per employee have risen from £16,000 in 1989 to 151,000 today. And all important in these post-recession years, jobs here have risen from just 61 5 years ago to 284 today. And there'll be more on the way as a result of the investments that we're seeing examples of today. Her Majesty now continuing with John Neal. Perhaps one of the greatest measures of the success of Premier and of Unipart in general is the degree of collaboration they've developed in recent years with Japanese motor producers and the great contingent from that part of the world here today, of course. They have very much in Japan set the standards for quality and components manufacture and in motor vehicle production, and indeed to have such close associations with customers in Japan speaks volumes for the achievements, for the quality and production achievements of Premier and of Unipart. Her Majesty now moving forward to hear what the company has to say about market action. These are awards that are given to employees who demonstrate outstanding personal customer service.
On the occasion of our 25th anniversary, Unipart is proud to announce a major new sponsorship for students of fine art. Reflections of Technology. It will encourage the UK's brightest young artistic talents to look at modern industrial and manufacturing processes in a new light. Each year, a fresh challenge will be unveiled to interpret a facet of technology and its impact on society. The competition will be judged by a panel selected from academic institutions, the media, and the arts. The highly commended work will feature in a travelling exhibition and be on display at Unipart House. All winners will receive substantial sponsorship for themselves and their art school or college. This new venture is an exciting first for Unipart, but a logical one. The pursuit of excellence applies equally to products, services, and anything affecting our quality of life. Art and industry are both reflections of technology.
Your Highness, honoured guests, the Mark in Action programme was designed to help us to live up to our group's goal, which you all heard John Neal speak about upstairs. Across the group, we have many fine examples, all of which go way beyond the call of normal duty and undoubtedly exceed the expectations of our customers. It is through this type of action that we will secure the ongoing loyalty of our customers and enhance our reputation. Today, we will meet a typical team who would normally have been presented with their award at our November recognition ceremony. I would now like to invite Paul Nash to step forward and tell you all why he nominated this team for an award.
Thank you, Michelle. Unipart people show a high degree of commitment, but this team surpassed that level. The team, Dave Metcalf, Darren Withers, Doug Simmons, Kevin Wiltshire and Pete Mikhailovich, come from 3 different manufacturing areas, 2 at Oxford, 1 here at Premier. Yet using their own initiative, they formed a self-sufficient team to manufacture exhaust prototype parts for a potential contract. The industry standard is normally 12 to 20 weeks, yet our customer demanded that this team produce the parts in 3 weeks. They rose to the challenge. Using their own initiative, working many hours and with minimal management guidance, they worked hard to achieve that task. They succeeded, and it is for this reason that I nominated this team for the Mark in Action Award.
It's worth reminding ourselves that this isn't just for excellence. The company considers excellence to be a fairly normal part of work at UGC. The Mark in Action Awards are really only given to employees who've demonstrated an exceptional service that's way beyond the call of their normal workaday duties. And since 1988, when the programme was started, there have been many, many hundreds of individuals and teams who've won this particular awards. The nomination for these awards, in fact, are submitted by customers and assessed by an independent panel of judges. There are some exceptional cases of employees who have actually picked up 4 of them. What they get, of course, is only of nominal value, I suppose, on the face of it. The award itself is a gold pin and a commemorative certificate of a few shares in the company. But they are very, very highly prized. as a public acknowledgement of their commitment to the customer.
Our contribution counts circles empower individuals throughout the group to solve any challenges that might face them in the workplace. Once an idea has been established, it is up to the individual to form a circle. Circle members are chosen carefully by their colleagues, either for their skills or for the information they can contribute to the circle. As John Neal explained earlier, the benefits of OCC circles vary from improving customer service to tackling environmental issues. But equally important is the sense of personal satisfaction that our employees feel through working together to solve problems. I would now like to invite Debbie Clapham, the facilitator of one recently completed circle, The Grabbers, to step forward and explain to us exactly what this circle achieved.
Thank you, Letitia. I am the team leader on a production line that makes catalytic converters. These are the systems that filter out the harmful gases from car exhaust fumes. The filtering is done by 2 specially coated bricks inside the cat. These bricks are very expensive, around £40 each. Our production line is highly automated with 6 robots. Some months ago we had a problem with the robot that picks the cat up and puts it in the correct position for welding. The robot was sometimes picking the cat up and putting it down in the wrong position, so that when the clamps came in to grip the cat to hold it steady for welding, it crushed and squashed the bricks inside. This meant that we had to throw the bricks away, causing great expense to the company. We decided to have a circle to have a look at the problem. The circle consisted of Paul Dixon, the robot programmer, Tony McCormick, maintenance engineer, and myself as the facilitator. We looked at all kinds of reasons why the robot might be putting the cat down wrongly. Eventually, we discovered that the tooling and clamps were no longer capable of being 100% accurate. So we worked for a whole weekend making new tooling and reprogramming all the robots. This seems to have done the trick, as we've never lost another brick since. I speak on behalf of us all when I say we've gained a great deal of personal satisfaction from being able to solve the problem through our own efforts. Thank you.
Well, there you have a wonderful example of really what modern factory life is about. Bricks, robots, cats. I suppose 15 years ago words like that wouldn't have been in the vocabulary. But it is representative, really, of how fast things change. OCC, I'm sure you all know, stands for Our Contribution Counts. And here, again, we have an example of something coming off the pages of the dry, dusty management textbooks and into real life, on the floor of the factory where wealth is really created and where companies like this really succeed. The OCC Circle program itself started just, 3.5 years ago, 1991. They're really short-term project teams who meet to tackle a particular work-related problem, a one-off problem. It involves all the Circle members. Any employee, in fact, can ask or his colleagues to join a circle, and the circle meets for as long as is needed to solve that problem, usually just a few weeks. After that, the improved process is put back into action and the circle itself closes down, goes back to its various jobs, until maybe they spot another program or another problem that can be solved. Now, it's a simple principle, but it does have a remarkable impact. It's not only produced countless improvements to customer service for this company, it's also produced improved processes, the way in which things are made. It's cut down waste. And really, for the bottom line, can have dramatic results. Over the past 2 or 3 years, UGC has saved something like £5 million through the suggestions and brainstorming sessions, if you like, of the OCC circles. It also has, of course, another hidden benefit. It encourages people to work as teams. Team working, again, one of those dry, dusty phrases from the management books, but here it's live, it's working, and it's producing results. We're now beginning, really, to have a glimpse, as Her Majesty is, of the factory of the future. Not done with old steam engines anymore, it's done with the best that information technology can throw at it. Computer-aided design, computer-aided engineering, using enormous number crunchers and graphics machines like the one you can see there to look at issues and problems and products from all sides, to understand how they work out where they're going wrong, and work out improvements, solve problems. As you heard there a moment ago, the company did start offering a relationship with art students. Reflections of Technology Awards date back to 1987 when Unipart launched it, being relaunched this year in the presence of Her Majesty the Queen to mark the company's Silver Jubilee. And there is, of course, historically, a very strong bond between artistic talent, particularly in the area of design, and the role of industry as a sponsor and a patron of the arts. I suppose it's no accident that, as John Neal mentioned earlier in his own presentation speech, that it's the Royal Society of Arts that's sponsoring, working with people like John Neal, with the support, in fact, of the Duke of Edinburgh, to look at tomorrow's company and see how the entire range of skills within a society, from the arts right through to manufacturing, can work together to find solutions for the problems and challenges of the 21st century. So arts do play a very key role. John Neal now briefly outlining what Her Majesty is seeing in front of her, which is a little family of robots. Robotics are very much the future of manufacturing processes, of course, all around the world. I suppose it's no surprise, looking at the advances in productivity that Japanese companies have made in recent years, that these particular robotics are made in Japan and have been brought into British industry. So it is a partnership of a kind, and a partnership that is yielding enormous benefits, both in terms of finance and in terms of product quality. This particular workstation features robotic systems that are actually there welding exhaust parts together, which of course is not surprising. It's an exhaust factory, and here it goes. And who said that Star Trek was only a fairy tale? Not only are they more efficient, robots, of course, are also safer, and some of the most valuable work they do in factories is doing the difficult bits, the dangerous bits, that it's best left really to machines. Where things are hot or jagged or dangerous, these are the machines that can do it without the intervention of the human hand. Robots, of course, very common now in the electronics industry for the insertion of very complex and small components into the motherboards of information technology and electronics parts. Now looking at a splendid collection of cars. This one in particular is the Formula One Jordan, sponsored by Unipart. Majesty doing what I suppose any distinguished visitor does, signs the visitor's book, as a mark of a visit to Premier 2 today. And there it is for posterity, 8th of December, 1994. And there can't be many books like that with both royal signatures in them. And this visit now draws to a close. A very special Thursday in a very special year for this company. Applause, of course, speaks for itself. Very happy occasion from a very happy workforce. Well, there you have it. The royal family, the royal party now emerging from the front entrance of Premier, where they began their visit just under, what, an hour ago. The sun has now, of course, disappeared. It's a cool but not cold December evening, and the royal party, I'm sure, are going to say hello to some of the people gathered to see them here. A lot of local school children have been waiting patiently outside for the royal party to emerge. A little bit of a departure from schedule here, I'm sure. Chance for Her Majesty to meet some of the people who've waited patiently outside while she was inside, hearing and listening and watching and seeing many, many interesting things happening. Duke of Edinburgh, no doubt getting some handy advice as to local geography. there you have it, the royal party now leaving Premier Exhaust after the eventful visit. They've seen plenty, they've heard plenty. What a wonderful afternoon it's been. Even the weather kept fine.
So there you have it. Unipart has been honoured in a way that very few factories have, with a visit there by Her Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. And it's extraordinary, you know, what an atmosphere there is. There was this air of anticipation to start with. And now that she's gone, people can't quite believe it. One of the employees said to me just now, I just can't believe that the Queen has come to premiere. And I think that sums it up. When you actually see her in person, it gives everybody a terrific thrill. And really, Unipart and Premier in particular have been terrifically honoured. Well, I have standing with me now UI's Managing Director, David Nicholas. David, what does this visit mean to you?
Oh, it's a tremendous reward to Premier, to Unipart Industries and to the Unipart group of companies for many years of hard work, and especially since we've been privatised. So I was very, very proud for all of us within Industries and in the group today.
What sort of distinction do you think it confers on Premier, the fact that the Queen has visited this factory?
Well, it's recognised us as a company in a big sort of way. We've been recognised in other areas, such as the Britain's Best Factory Award, but to have the Queen come and visit us and put the stamp of approval on it was really tremendous and exciting.
It's the ultimate accolade, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but what's the next one going to be? That's the next question.
Well, don't you worry. Grapevine will stick around to report on it, I'm sure, if that's the case. David, a huge amount of effort has gone into this, hasn't it, on the part of all the employees, because they've had to make sure that they haven't lost production while this visit has been taking place.
Oh, this is the truly remarkable thing. If you'd visited this plant about 3 months ago, you'd have all said they haven't got a hope in hell of getting it all sorted by the time. But I tell you, it has to be said that not just the people here at Premier, but people around Industries and people around the group of companies, they've all come to the cause, and they've really driven it very hard and made it so easy for us to just turn up here today and do the bit.
Thanks very much indeed, David. I've just spotted Frank Burns, and I've been trying to get hold of this man for the last hour and a half, and he's been ever so slightly busy. I can't think why. Frank, please come and join us.
Thank you very much.
It's your factory, Frank. Do you think the Queen got the right impression of it?
Oh, I'm sure she did. I'm really proud of everything that's gone on over the last few weeks. I think most people will probably know around the group that we were actually planning to do this refurbishment about September of next year. And the whole group has pulled together and achieved this in 7 weeks flat, which is about how long ago that we knew the Queen was coming. So I'm ever so proud of what everyone's done throughout the whole group. Tremendous.
Indeed. And Annika Rice not even in sight. I can't believe it.
We don't need Annika Rice. We really don't need Annika Rice. We've done this 3 or 4 times now.
Well, it's a terrific tribute to you and the entire team, because I've never seen Premier looking so wonderful, I have to say.
Thank you very much. As I say, it's the whole team. And it's not just the Premier team. I mean, a lot of the refurbishment that's gone on just recently has been to do with people outside of Premier, people within the group. So we've really seen teamwork coming together in a tremendous fashion over the last few weeks. I'm proud of the group, not just the company, proud of the whole group.
Frank, it's a great pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
You can relax now.
Thank you very much.
He was a worried man an hour or so ago. You can relax, and you deserve to.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And now, if I may, I'd just like a brief word with UGC's Group Chief Executive. Will you please welcome John Neal? John, hello. How do you feel it's gone?
Brilliant.
Yeah?
It's been a fantastic, memorable, lifetime experience. I'm so proud of everybody.
It all went very smoothly, didn't it?
It all went like clockwork. Absolutely on time. It was marvellous.
The secret of that is planning, I think.
Well, we put a bit of detailed planning in.
Just a bit. A bit of hard work, then.
I think everybody in the group, and particularly the Premier team here, put the most enormous amount of effort in. And they should be very, very proud of the view that Her Majesty and His Royal Highness have of our company. I think we really did communicate the spirit of Unipart to her. And as she left, I said, "Did you enjoy your visit, Your Majesty?" And she smiled a really warm smile, and she said, "I really enjoyed myself." So I think it's a marvellous, marvellous result, which everyone in the company should be very, very proud of.
Because it's very rare, isn't it, for the Queen to visit factories. Apparently the schedulers at the palace said in their memory they didn't know of a previous occasion.
Well, that's right. When we were first got an indication that Her Majesty might visit, I thought this was fairly regular. And when we did the research, we too discovered that very, very long time ago. In fact, I was talking to Jaguar's chairman Nick Shaler last night, and he said the last time that Her Majesty visited a car factory was 15 years ago. So it's a wonderful, wonderful honour for us, and we're very, very pleased to have had Her Majesty here.
Well, John, can I ask you, do you have any final message that you would like to give to all the employees who are watching here this afternoon?
Oh, I've got lots of messages. The first is, first is a very, very big thank you to everyone who put the most enormous amount of effort in to make today a wonderful success. And then to everybody in the company who created the success of Unipart, which made today possible. That's a wonderful tribute to everyone in Unipart. And I think, just in case I don't get to see everybody personally before Christmas, maybe I could use your program to wish everyone and their families a really very, very happy Christmas and all the very, very best for the new year.